Oh, geez, there it is. Recording
Yes.
in progress. Whew, week.
Yeah, the
13.
Thanksgiving edition coming a little bit early because we got games coming all the way on Friday. So yeah, week 13, Thanksgiving edition.
All right. Before we get into it, because I know with our guests, we got a lot of small talk, but let's get that intro started right away.
Okay, let's hit it. Ryan, what do you think of that intro? Wasn't that something?
Yeah, that was amazing. You guys do that every week?
Every week. But I would say whoever's driving that boat must not know what he's doing, because it's a failed attempt after failed attempt. I don't know.
Well, and brings us to our guest picker this week. Year two that he's been with us. He's my favorite brother.
That's right.
All the way from Texas, Ryan Dahl. Welcome to year two and guest picker for week 13.
Well, thank you, guys. I'm really happy to be here. Thank you for the invite. Yeah, I look forward to getting into this. Let's roll.
Although you, I was looking at the archives, Ryan, before we look at last week, and you did something that my son also did that is a record for pickers of any shape and form. You got 3 right when you picked last year.
Oh gosh, that's not a good thing to be well known as.
And one of them was Alabama. I remember that, right?
Yeah, one of them. Yeah, that one was a sure win.
Okay.
Because Josh dropped a 3 earlier this year.
Yeah,
okay.
We'll see in the overall spread. I've dropped a 3 this year, but I've also dropped a 9 out of 10, Ryan. So when there are lows, there are also highs.
All right. Okay. I'll try to pick up my game this year.
Yep. And as you can tell, Alex is not here.
Nope.
Unfortunately, his wife's birthday took precedent over this, which it should. So he's doing the right thing.
Yep.
And
this is the results of last week. So
Dad, we just got to wish Sally a happy birthday.
Oh yes. Oh, well, I was working my way to that, because the opposite end of your 3 was Ashley, who has the record for this year for the guest with 9 right.
Yeah. Okay. Correct. Yeah. So it's a big happy birthday to Sally. She turned the big 30, big 30-year-old now.
Wow.
And
it's all downhill after this.
Yeah. I was gonna say, she'll hear that eventually. But yeah, Alex is doing husband things. So we're gonna I was gonna say he's doing the right thing.
Yeah.
We're gonna miss him dearly, but I'm going to take over for typing in the scores, which I don't know if it's going to go good, bad, or in between, but we'll do our best.
We were afraid this would happen at some point. It would probably be better if I were, we can't miss on these things. So, but we'll make it work. And Ashley, happy birthday. I know you're going to be watching and listening this, because you're right with us in the audience.
Yes, indeed.
Well, here's what we had last week. And I was talking to Josh and Alex earlier this week. And this time I picked with the algorithm. I went straight with the algorithm.
Yeah.
And before I go with my head, and so my heart, excuse me. So I know I have an idea who I want to win. Mm-hmm. And right away, Iowa State comes up short against Oklahoma. And I knew that I didn't pick MSU to cover the spread. And I thought, oh man, this is going to be a rough week. I totally forgot some of them that I got. And I'm glad that it turned out the way it did.
Yeah, Ryan, let me tell you, I spoke to Dad on the phone this week, yesterday, and he was pretty happy talking about last week college football and everything. And I had the opposite feeling. I went, you know what? I don't think I did very well. And clearly, out of last week's pick, 5 is not good because Alex finished with 7. I finished with 5, Dad, and guest picker picked 8. So,
which really tightened things up for you Spotifyers. Alex extended his lead. It was down to 1, and he's up to 74. The guest made a hard charge at 72, and Josh and Dean are now battling for the bronze medal. And the game I'm most proud of, straight up, was the Utah win. I was getting ridiculed and if you see the note on the right there, Dad's trying to catch up with that pick.
Yeah, I suppose. Ryan, did you catch any games last week, and what was your favorite?
I didn't get to watch any games this last week, so I'm a little bit slow to the uptake here because all I'm doing really is following the playoff picture, kind of. Yep. And since I really enjoy watching the University of Texas, why watch that on TV, right?
Yeah, that is true. It's tough. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, and actually a little bit with the Gophers this year. I think that they could have done a whole lot better. There's a lot of games they could have been a little bit more.
I would say if I could look at the Gophers' overall record right now, obviously that Bowling Green game is a nightmare that they wish they could wake up from. But I mean, they dropped the ball against Illinois as well.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I still think, I mean, they're going to be bowl bound for sure. And it's going to be an exciting game this week. So I'm still optimistic. We've seen too many below 500 Gopher teams, so I'm not going to ridicule them too much right now. Right now, we'll see.
Where we're at right now, CBS picks. Sorry, Ryan. CBS picks the Gophers to play in the ever-feared Guaranteed Rate Bowl in Arizona, which used to be the Cheez-It Bowl.
Okay.
So I don't know. We have a place to stay, and there's Chase Field. Chase Field for football, believe it or not, is kind of a cool place. But what were you saying, Ryan?
No, I think what you said is probably more important. I'll take you up on that.
Yeah, I was gonna say rendezvous in Arizona.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
I may not be doing anything on that day.
Okay.
All right. Well, without Alex here, I am in charge of getting us started. It's a big week. A lot of rivalries coming on. Not a lot of close spreads, which I think it's going to be good for the pickers. Because last week, well, my picking especially was rough, but rivalry week, technically for some, but here we go. We have first game, Iowa at Nebraska. Iowa is favored by only 1.5 points. Ryan, your take.
Yeah, I think Iowa just, and it goes back to the Gophers again, right? I watched that game, and the Gophers kind of, when they were ranked number 20 in the playoff berth, right? It was the Hawkeyes that uprooted that whole thing.
Of course.
So I watched that game, and Iowa actually looks pretty good. And
they can.
Yeah.
They were ranked number 4 at one point in time this year.
They were. But Nebraska is starting to look good.
Yes.
A little bit. So, but I am going to have to go with Iowa on this pick.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good. Iowa. Yeah, it's tough. So far this season, Nebraska is literally feast or famine. From what I can see, they look so good against good teams. They can look bad against bad teams. I don't know who's going to show up for Nebraska, but I can tell you who's going to show up for Iowa, and that's just classic ground pound. I'm happy that it is this close of a spread. If it was anything more, I'd probably have to go towards Nebraska, but with 1.5 point spread, I safely am going to go Iowa, even though it's on the road. I'm going to go Iowa to win this one and cover the spread.
This is a game that I have two games that I have got as listed as my my super dog underdog pick, and I just couldn't pull the trigger on this one. As much as I want Iowa to lose to give the Gophers a chance on Saturday, you just can't. I think Nebraska is ready for the season to be over. Iowa's defense has just been solid, just solid. Their offense is all over the board, but their defense has been solid. Nebraska can't finish, and the Hawkeyes. I was looking up when they have a spread between 1 and 4. They're 3-0 this year. So I'm with you too. I'm going to go with the Hawkeyes to sorry, PJ. I can't pull the trigger on that.
Yeah, that's tough. It's tough, but that's okay. I mean, to be honest, a once ranked number 4 team should beat Nebraska by 1.5. I think that's a pretty safe pick. You know what? Alex's picks aren't in here. He's going to go ahead and have to choose those eventually. But moving on to the big game, as always, not Minnesota quite yet. Ohio State at Michigan. Ohio State is favored by 8 points right now. Ryan, Ohio State, Michigan. Whew.
Yeah, so I'm looking at all these games and trying to figure out which one is my upset game.
Yep.
I think it's going to be this one.
This is it. All right.
So.
Yeah.
So,
hey, I don't blame
honestly, you. Has Michigan not been playing the best ball we've ever seen them play right now under Jim Harbaugh?
They are. I'm with you, Ryan. They are one turnover away from being undefeated.
Yeah. And all we had to do was cut Harbaugh's salary to get this motivation going, right? And so, yeah, I just think that Michigan is one of the top teams right now playing. They're playing like a top 4 team.
Yeah, they're playing tough. I mean, it is. I think Ohio State's number 3 at this point. I think they're number 2, honestly. Again, I got the update on my phone tonight. I saw Georgia number 1, Ohio State number 2, Alabama number 3, Cincy snuck in there at the 4th spot, which is well deserved. Yeah, this is a tough game, so I got to mark this in there. In for
Michigan.
Ryan.
Let's do this, and that's going to be a good game to watch for once.
I think so. Last week, Ohio State, just taking a moment here, beat the living snot out of Michigan State.
Yes.
I was with my brother-in-law, Brian, who was a picker 2 weeks ago, and he could not, I mean, he loves to talk, but he goes, Michigan State has always been overrated. They had one big game against Michigan, barely, and Ohio State proved them right. Unfortunately, Michigan State was not a 7 team. I don't think they should have been beaten out by that long or that much, but Ohio State is out for blood. They're in the playoffs right now. Win and you're in. They're going to play them tough, but Michigan also, you beat Ohio State. Ohio State gets out of the playoffs. Michigan may sneak in there, but I am upset with my pick last week. I will not make that mistake again. As much as it hurts me to say this, I am going to go with OSU to win and cover.
Here is the crazy part. And if Michigan wins, there's a 3-way tie.
Of course.
Ohio State's beat MSU. MSU has beat Michigan. Michigan's beat Ohio State. So we go to a tiebreaker. They only have one loss. Unfortunately, the way it works out, Ohio State would be the odd team out going to the playoff or going to the title game.
It's very true. I was going to say there's a lot of ifs up in the air that I'm sure the college football committee is like, can Ohio State just win and we can be done with it? But Yeah, I hope it makes a difficult decision for him.
Well, this this game I was excited about when I was looking at the matchup. Number 1 offense, Ohio State, hands down. Number 9 defense in the country, Michigan. Yep. Michigan's got a tough schedule. Points allowed, number 7 in the country, Michigan. Points scored, number 1, Ohio State. Yep. This is going to be just can Michigan's defense slow down Stroud? And here's my super dog.
That question, Dad. Can they?
Oh, you're doing it.
All right.
I'm going there.
Michigan. All right. Brothers picking alike. I have a feeling Alex would be picking with me on this one. I have a feeling he'd be going OSU on this one, but I'm not going to pick for him. We'll wait to see. But this is a tough pick. This is going to be an exciting game. I don't know. It's going to be cool. It's in Michigan, which I think is going to have a huge factor. All 100,000+ Michigan fans are going to be screaming. So
Josh, we got to figure out a way to get a monitor at the tailgate.
Yeah, we got to do something to watch this one. I agree 100%, Dad. Let's do it.
Algorithm has Michigan by 4.5 also.
Wow. We'll see about that algorithm. Yeah, Dad, you had great picks of the algorithm. Keep going. Next up, not as exciting or thrilling with college football playoff potential. Maryland at Rutgers. Tight spread. Maryland is picked 1.5 point spread. Ryan, I know you're a diehard Terrapins fan. Lay it on me.
I am. Yeah, you just got to go with Maryland primarily because they're playing Rutgers.
I couldn't agree.
There you go. Put me down for Maryland.
Yep.
And I like their helmets.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to embrace ugly uniforms. I mean, their colors are absurd. They're red and white. They're black and yellow. I understand it's the state flag. They're ugly to a point, but yet they somehow make them good. I don't know. But I agree. Rutgers is pure garbage this year. Maryland has played tough this year. I think this is a no-brainer with that small of a spread. I'm going to go Maryland for the win and the cover. Dad?
Not so fast, boys. Not so fast. Here's a pickup. This year, Maryland, they are, believe it or not, they were favored 4 times this year.
Yep.
And they lost. They did not cover nor win all 4 of those. I was quite shocked to see Rutgers or Maryland. I thought this would be just a straight dead even pick. So no, algorithm has Rutgers by 13.
Rutgers, that's a big one for the algorithm.
I know that's a lot of scoring for Rutgers.
I know. I mean, we are literally picking the bottom of the Big Ten right now. Yep. So we will see those teams that, I mean, years ago, I didn't even want them in the Big Ten. Still probably don't, but hey, welcome. Yeah. Congratulations. Moving on to true Big Ten teams. Northwestern at Illinois. Illinois favored 6.5 points. Ryan.
Yeah, so isn't that funny how Northwestern is just they're always kind of that tough team every year, except for this year.
Right.
And I just don't understand it. And everybody's beating up on them. I don't know what their win-loss record is, but they're way below 500, aren't they? I mean,
yeah, they say that most all of the Power 5 conferences did not lose the amount of players to the NFL to graduation, except for Northwestern. They lost all of their regular that they wouldn't lose in a normal year, plus then some. So they were hit the hardest.
Ryan, they are overall 3-8 and 1-7 in the conference.
Yeah, it's a rebuilding year then, I guess, because the coaching hasn't changed there. We'll be talking about them again in 3 years, I'm pretty sure.
Maybe. But, yeah. I mean, they were hot 2 years ago.
But until then, I guess Illinois is looking pretty solid. So I got to go with the prediction.
Yeah. This
Illinois.
Yeah, I'll mark it down. Illinois. You better believe it. It's tough because there's some goodness in Northwestern, but they just have not had it this year. Illinois has surprised a lot of people this year. Surprised me handing it to Minnesota. And I think Minnesota's a good team. I really do think they're a good team. And Illinois beat them. Illinois beat the crap out of Northwestern. Dad was there to witness it. I think this is another no-brainer. I think Northwestern going into Illinois, I know they don't have the known factor like Wisconsin, OSU, Michigan do, but they do have home field. They do have home field bowl, in my opinion. And I think 6.5 points is fair. And I think they can do it. I will also go Illinois to finish out the season strong. And I'm not sure how their records are looking right now. They're not looking for a bowl. I think they just want to beat the Illinois versus Illinois team here. We'll see.
Yeah, both teams are they're it's like, okay, we got one more game left. That we're done.
Right.
And then doing the algorithm just straight up, Illinois is up picked to win by 13.5 for my algorithm. But when I look at the rankings, there's a lot of triple digits for both teams.
Offense, defense, turnovers.
Yeah, Illinois rated 117 for offense. And this is out of 130. Northwestern 112. It's just this is not the marquee game for sure. What pushed me over the edge also, Northwestern 0-5 being the underdog, and they've practiced being the underdog this year a lot. So going with Illinois, definitely to cover.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to the big game, what we are all most excited about. Spotify listeners won't see it, but I am rocking Minnesota maroon and gold shirt. Minnesota hosting Wisconsin for Paul Bunyan's Axe. The spread right now, Wisconsin 7-point spread favorites. The game is in Minnesota. Ryan, we can have some discussion on this game. You've been to it before. Lay it on us. What do you
been disappointed before?
Yeah. I was right there. I was literally right there with you, side by side.
Yeah, and so it comes down to two players, right? If Ibrahim was still playing, I would definitely go with Minnesota, right? Okay. And if the other player from 2019 shows up, who's named Tanner Morgan, if he shows up and it's the 2019 Tanner Morgan that shows up, they're going to win.
Okay, but will he? That's the big question.
Yeah, that's the question of the day. And he's a head scratcher this year. The rest of the team, everything's kind of coming together, and there was moments of brilliance in the last game, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Being able, you're down to your 4 and 5 running back, and you're still able to get 100 yards rushing, every week.
Right now, I'll give you a weather report. It's pretty consistent the rest of the week in Minneapolis. It is going to be highs in the upper 30s. No chance. I was going to say right now, little to no chance of rain or snow. So it's just going to be cold. There's no chance of precipitation, which I think will benefit Morgan in the throwing game.
Yeah. And there really isn't any decoys for Wisconsin to dangle in front of PJ like that game that we went to.
We got to see. Speaking of which, that old running back, that Jonathan Taylor running back, he had a casual 5 touchdowns for the Colts on Sunday this week.
I know.
Puts them in an elite level.
Didn't the Gophers hold him to 15 yards rushing that game?
Oh yeah, it was like 15 or 20 yards.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm going with Minnesota, and that's a straight up emotional. I think they can, and I think it comes down to Tanner Morgan. The the receivers are there, but don't get me wrong. Some of the receivers have kind of let him down too occasionally, but
oh yeah, definitely. We've seen plenty of drops.
Yeah, I'm going with Minnesota, and I hope the Tanner Morgan from 2019 shows up.
That's right. The good news with that pick is you have a 6.5 point cushion, so Minnesota could technically lose, but you could win your pick, so that's a plus. It's a heart wrencher for me. I've never.
This is when Ryan, he's buying time right now.
I'm not. I know my pick. I know. I'll say it right now. I'm picking with my heart. I'm going with Minnesota because I want to see them win. It is a heart wrencher because I'm not going to say never. I think I did remember way back in the Metrodome days, I did witness a Minnesota-Wisconsin victory, but it's a faint memory. And I want to see them in person, take that axe back from the sideline. I want them to chop down the goalposts. I have not seen it I haven't seen it in this stadium. And the last time they won it a couple of years ago, I was in Illinois at a family Thanksgiving. So I don't feel like I was surrounded by the right people. Whereas this week, I will be there in person. I will be cheering them on with my fellow father. And you know what? Like I said, I'm going heart on this one. I got the shirt. I want the Gophers to win. I'm going to pick with what I want. Minnesota to prevent the cover and outright win.
For me, I when I do the algorithm, you have no idea how many times when I'm entering my data on Sunday night, it doesn't, Minnesota's data doesn't work out for me.
Right.
This time it does. I am really excited for this game. I mean, like the one us three went to 2 years ago, it was just the atmosphere. I think we can do it, kind of like game day and stuff. This, I have so much confidence in our defense, and this is defense versus defense, number 2 versus number 4. Yeah. It's 2 quarterbacks that are, Mertz and Tanner Morgan. Never know what you're going to get.
It's scary with Mertz, though. He's been playing hot recently.
Yep. Oh, totally. And neither of the 2 quarterbacks can take the day off, or they will lose.
Absolutely not.
Algorithm. Also, Wisconsin is 0-2 when they're favored on the road, and they are on the road. Algorithm has Minnesota by 6.5.
Wow.
DJ, right there with you, man. I'm there. Gophers.
Row the boat.
Win.
That's right. Ryan, I just want to take a step back. 2 years ago, the world was normal. Life was good. College game day was at Minnesota. I don't know about you, but that's been one of my favorite memories of a very, very long time with you, Dad. Ashley was there. That was an incredible day. Besides not having a Gophers victory, I don't know. Do you ever catch yourself thinking back to that?
I do. Yeah. And how about, remember it was snowing, right?
It was a primetime winter game for us.
It was a Big Ten game in the Midwest.
Yeah.
And just playing. Yeah, it was an absolute blast. Yeah, I do think of it a lot. Game day was there. If I recall, Minnesota weren't they 10-1 rolling into that game?
Yes,
I believe so. Yeah. They were hot.
Yeah, and we all felt it, and we all thought that they could actually pull it off. And but
it was a great year. Ryan, you saw the next game.
I did see the next game, and they won that game.
Yeah,
against Auburn.
So I was gonna say, thinking back to it, because the Gophers finished 10-2. Which means they were 9-2 going into that game, I believe.
Okay.
Right?
No, they were.
No. I'm wrong.
They were 10-1.
Yeah, they finished 10-1, but not too shabby. That's all. Done with that trip down memory lane. We're all going Minnesota. Dean's going with the algorithm. The rest of us are going with our heart.
Yep.
We'll see what happens. Moving on. I think another good game. Penn State at Michigan State. Penn State is favored by 1 point. I think this is a tough one. I like the close spreads.
And so this is over to me, I guess, right?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
I agree that, and you said, Steve, or you were talking to somebody earlier and they said Michigan State's overrated.
Oh yeah, my brother-in-law Brian. I mean,
Brian
to talk out of his ass, but he sometimes can be right.
Yeah, well, I agree with them on this one that Michigan State is a little bit overrated, and I think they've been overrated all year long.
Yeah,
and Penn State has just been consistently tough for the last 4 or 5 years. So I'm just going with the old program, and I actually like the coach out of Penn State. I kind of wish we had him in Texas, but he does a pretty good job up there at Penn State. I'm sure we could make a loser out of him in Texas too.
I have no doubt we could make a loser out of him.
So I'm just going with Penn State just because I think it's the better team on the field.
Okay.
And the better coach team on the field.
Oh, that's up to me. I thought the same thing. Michigan State is overrated. I didn't think that a week ago. I thought Michigan State was tough. But when they're down 40, I think they were down 42 or 49-0 in the second quarter. I mean, that's just a pure meltdown. I don't know if that's a fluke. I don't know what, but they're not going to have an easy next game by any means. Penn State is tough, and they played tough. They played tough against Auburn. They played tough. I mean, plain and simple. They've won some big games. The only thing that Michigan State has going for them is it is at home, which I think does play a pretty big factor. They do tend to win big games at home. I believe their Michigan State versus Michigan game was at home at Michigan State. And I think Michigan's better than Penn State. Therefore, I am going to make a point, and I will go Michigan State at home, finishing this team. Will I learn my lesson? Probably not. I'm just going with it. Let's see.
So I was looking at the news, and I believe Mel Tucker signed a big contract extension at Michigan State right before the Ohio State game.
How many people went?
That's in ink, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, guys, we're good.
Good. He's feeling better about that now.
The thing that's bothered me this whole year is when I do the algorithm, Michigan State has never, not once this whole year, been less than ranked number 1 on defense.
Really? Until
and they're 120. Now, granted, they went down. Ohio State pushed that number down.
Yes, they did.
And Clifford, I think Clifford will be all right. Algorithm has Penn State by 6. So I'm going Penn State.
All right. I was gonna say I'm grasping at air, but I don't quite believe they're that overrated. I mean, it's a 1-point spread. It's literally picking the winner or loser. I just think the home team's gonna do it. We'll see. Moving on, we have Indiana at Purdue. Purdue favored, biggest spread so far, 15 points. Ryan,
aren't you guys surprised by that spread? Is Indiana, haven't they just been tough lately, or playing pretty good ball? Not at all.
No. They've
thinking of Illinois.
You're thinking of the Indiana of last
year.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Indiana of last year was the team that played Ohio State tough, brought them to the fourth quarter, and played a solid year. Indiana this year, my opinion, garbage.
Okay. All right.
Penix got hurt, and they're with a true freshman quarterback, McCauley, and they're jumping back and forth between 2 quarterbacks, and they're hoping one of them steps up. And what do you have with 2 quarterbacks, Josh?
No quarterbacks.
Yeah. Yeah, we did that for a while down here too. So, okay, gotcha. And Purdue, actually, on any given Saturday, they can beat anybody in the entire country if the Purdue team that comes out. So yeah, okay, we'll go with Purdue. I'm gonna go ahead and say you guys talked me into that one. Thank you.
Yeah, Ryan, I wouldn't steer you one way and jut the other way.
All right.
No,
you are 100% correct. I think I'm also going to go with Purdue because yes, they beat, some may say, an overrated MSU, but they beat Iowa. Okay, they didn't beat Minnesota, which again is just shocking. I don't know how. Granted, that might have been the worst weather game I've seen in a long time. It was torrential downpour. But they have very bright moments against an Indiana team that is bad. Obviously, the spread is saying that Purdue is heavily favored. I think they want to go out on top. They're going bowling this year. They've had huge wins. They're riding high. I'm going to go Purdue without a doubt. Cover.
I'm right with you. Bell is going to have a day and a half. There's nothing that Indiana has that's going to stop him. The algorithm has Purdue by 26. And we are going, Ted, we're going to boil her up.
Yep.
It's been a while since I've done this. Matter of fact, I believe last night in our planning chat, we are doing Boilermaker chili.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So Ryan, Ted is my uncle-in-law. One of Ashley's uncles, and that whole family is Purdue graduates, and they have 2 kids, phenomenal, and they both go to Purdue, and so that whole family is Purdue, live or die.
All right.
I'd like to give them a lot of shit for it, but this year I really can't because they've had some big wins, and Ted's a great guy. He's awesome to talk to. And he's a diehard football fan, so he's going to appreciate all 3 of our picks going Purdue. Moving on to
Boilermaker chili, real quick, is one of the ingredients cast iron? What is the Boilermaker chili?
Good call. I threw it out there in the chat. And Alex responded right away. Oh yeah, I've made it. It's probably the best chili I've ever had.
Is that right? I'm going to look it up. I'm going to fact check that.
And I haven't made it, but I was shocked that I read that. I went, whenever someone throws a random recipe out there, it's like, okay, yeah, never seen it. Alex right away. Yeah, I've made it. Probably the best chili ever. I went, holy shit, wow. Okay. I guess we're making it. Let's do it. But moving on to our non-Big Ten games, we have Kansas State at Texas. Texas is favored in Austin by 3 points. Ryan,
boy, they give you the 3 points for home.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot to talk about here, I guess, but we could talk all night on just this. I don't know. So get this. The last time that Texas has lost 6 games in a row, what was it? Was it 1939?
Oh God.
Yeah, they're 5 in a row, right?
6?
Oh,
they've lost 6 in a row.
Correct me if I'm wrong. They won the Red River, didn't they?
No.
Oh yeah, I did pick Oklahoma, and that they blew a big lead in the Red River.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's been tough, and I don't know if Sarkisian's trying to find the rock bottom so he can rebuild his own team because he knows he has at least 2 years here,
right?
But the recruiting certainly isn't going to help. I don't know. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I got to go with Texas, but
not confident.
What a great face for you, Spotify guys. It looks like Ryan just bit into a sour lemon.
Oh man.
And I love my Longhorns, and they're fun to watch, just not this year.
Right.
It's been rough. And they are not bowl eligible for anything.
Oh gosh.
Right? And over the last 5 years, that's happened twice.
I know. And when it happened the first time, I remember it too. They're like, Texas has not made a bowl. Texas has not made a bowl in so long. I mean, I was blown out of the water. Like, goodness gracious. And now they've done it again, which is unfortunate because I'm with you, Ryan. I love the Longhorns. Granted, I caught them in the golden years in my life. That was fantastic with a national championship victory.
What would PJ Fleck do with all that talent?
Oh, man. Oh, man.
I think he'd do a lot more than not bowl eligible. Goodness.
Seriously. It comes down to that, and it comes down to controlling the alumni. That's the real problem in Texas.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the big issue here. The Longhorn understand me, but anyway, I'm sorry.
No, don't. I mean, you're 100% correct. They always have the highest draft class because it's UT, it's the Longhorns, it's the legacy of greatness. And like you said, I mean, I talked about, this is a stretch, but I'm saying I've talked about dad being a coach and how parents can just be so tough. In college, you don't deal with parents, you deal with alumni. The alumni have just got to be losing their mind going, what the hell is going on?
Well, especially they were the ones that pushed the envelope of Herman. 50, Lee Corso said on game day, 59 million it cost Texas to buy out Herman and to bring in Steve.
Yeah, they did not want that.
59 million.
So
who won on that deal?
I would love Herman to get fired for $59 million.
I know. What is he doing now? What is Herman doing?
I don't know. I was wondering the same thing.
I guess he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, retire.
Buy an island.
Yeah, I was gonna say buy 10 houses in Texas. They're cheap as hell.
Yeah. That's right.
And the only reason I say that is because Ashley's best friend and her husband moved to Texas this past year, and they bought a gorgeous house, and it was less than our house here in Stewartville, Minnesota, and they have an in-ground pool. And I go, how the hell does that happen?
So where did they come in from? Just curious. Chicago?
So they are a military family.
Yeah.
They were located in Hawaii, relocated to, I'm not sure where in Texas, but the reason they moved to Texas is because he is in PA school. And that's where the military approved him to go to school. So he's in school to be a PA. And the great family, phenomenal. Kristen and Kevin.
Good for them.
Yeah, we're going to try. I haven't brought it up, but I'm trying to think about taking a whole week off, having like an extended weekend with you guys down at the ranch.
Yeah.
And move on over and two birds, one stone, give ourselves, 9 days to do it.
Just give me the dates.
Yeah, absolutely. Ready. I got to go talk to the boss upstairs. She's not hearing any of this, so we will see what happens. But yeah,
thankfully she doesn't watch the podcast. So
yeah. So I can spill the beans all I want.
Going back to Tom Herman real quick, he went from bad to the Bears.
He's on the Bears, huh?
Yeah, he's the offensive analyst and special projects coach.
Well, that's not good for him either, because their offense has been looking pretty.
As in Chicago or Baylor?
That's
Chicago.
Chicago Bears. Woof.
Good for him.
Well, anyways, enough delay on my part. I'm going to go Texas with Ryan because that's what the Longhorns are going to do. They're going to win. It's at home. You know what? They're playing for pride at this point in time. For the boosters, let's do it, Longhorns.
Yeah.
Brian, we've talked about this for the last 3 years, how Texas doesn't have a stellar defense, and number 107 rated in the country, giving up points, 105. So we have a a bad defense versus a not as bad offense, but not great at K-State. Yeah, I can't go with. I think, to me, the algorithm first of all says K-State by 9.5, and this just feels like LSU last year. It's like, can we just finish the game because we got to go down to 6th Street and get partying?
Yeah.
Hey, don't get me wrong. I have made it to Austin this year, and boy, 6th Street is fun. I can't remember. 6th Street is, no offense, Dad, but that's where the older crowd goes.
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember the street where the college kids go, but it was graduation. Ryan, believe it or not, I was down in Austin, Texas, for graduation this spring, and believe it or not, yeah, I was very old compared to college graduates. So that was a pretty real moment of me going, all right, I'm pretty old. I get it. I'm married and I'm old. It happens. But
yeah, it does. You have a cat.
Yeah, I got a cat. It just watch this. This is for you non-Spotifyers. This cat.
Oh, look at that. It's Spider-Man.
Nope. Dig on in.
Come on, do it.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you're not watching this. This is so pointless. Here you go, Osmond. Here you go, bud. And
my gosh.
He's gonna sit up.
Gosh.
The cat just scaled the wall. Man. Yeah, you can't see it, but there's some claw marks there. He just likes to be on top of the world, He's a man's man. All right, moving on. I was gonna say this is gonna be our longest episode, but that's what
I know.
When you get family on here, Ryan, we don't talk all the time, but you get on here and it just flows, and I love it.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about.
There is. And speaking of talking about, that is ice cold Busch Light that you heard by my blue snowball microphone. Sponsored, not yet, but maybe one day. Moving on.
Oh, these next two games, the algorithm and the whole scenario, these are troubling.
Not your turn, but
I know it's not, but I'm just incorporating that.
Oklahoma at Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State is favored by 4 points. Cowboys versus Sooners. What do you have for us, Ryan?
It's all defense, right? Oklahoma State. I read that today. Some guy said Oklahoma State has the best defense this side of Georgia.
Exactly. That's a pretty good statement.
Yeah.
They are pretty tough. So yeah, I think, and I don't really particularly like either one of these teams, frankly. Right. But, and I really I don't really care for Oklahoma State at all.
No.
But I do think Oklahoma State just is going to hold Oklahoma down defensively. Yep. All they got to do is just make sure to score a couple of touchdowns.
That's all they have to do. That's it.
I'm going with Oklahoma State. Mark me down.
Oklahoma State, mark it. All right. Yeah, this is tough. I've gone with Oklahoma a good amount of times. They bit me a couple times. I don't necessarily like it. I haven't quite learned my lesson so far with my picks this week. Will I continue that? Oklahoma's tough. Oklahoma State has tough defense. Enough stalling. I'm going to go opposite. I'm going to go Oklahoma to upset the apparent favorites, Oklahoma State. Sooners are going to bounce back. They need to. We'll see what happens. They're out of the playoff picture in my eyes, but they're fighting for the other FBS bowls. So let's go Oklahoma. For shits and gigs. See what happens. OU.
Yeah, these two teams hate each other. What's even more impressive where you started, Ryan, is Oklahoma State number 3 in the country on defense in the Big 12.
Right.
It's illegal to play defense.
Yeah, where everyone scores 50 points. It's unbelievable.
So the algorithm has the Sooners by 0.5 point.
Wow. You've been going with the algorithm.
I'm going to stay with that. The Sooners on this one.
All right. There we go. Sooners. OU.
I'm either going to win really big or lose really big this week, aren't I?
I was gonna say overall, we'll come back to it, but I was gonna say Ryan and I, you and I have some similar. We have some differences. I've had those weeks before, Ryan. I really hope that you don't have a 3 week because that would. I don't think you're going to have a 3 week. It's been pretty monumental to do that. You and I, Ryan, you and I are the only guys in the history. This is going to be year 2 kind of wrapping up with us. You and I are the only ones to ever post a 3 correct picks.
Yeah.
That's not to be proud of, but I mean, it is monumental.
We pick with our hearts. That's the thing. We don't use this a logarithm or whatever.
Right. We don't do it. We go with what we want and what we think we need to see.
Yeah. There's a science to everything.
Yeah. That's the difference between Ryan, you and me, and him.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Moving on. The good old fashioned throw it out the window, in my opinion. Alabama Auburn, the Iron Bowl. It is in Auburn this year, which does, I feel, make a big sway. But Alabama is favored by 19.5 points.
Yeah, and they're going to win that game by at least that. That's just going to be the game right there. Alabama is pretty tough this year.
What, as Caitlin said about it,
what is she still in that? Is she still in that boat, or is she starting to turn Aggie?
Oh, she's definitely turning Aggie.
Okay.
She spent the last couple of days at A&M getting everything all squared away there. Yeah.
Nice.
Got to fill you in on some things, Josh, when we get to the end of this. But
we'll finish this. But is she, have you talked to her? Is she excited about the Iron Bowl? Because I feel, I mean, it's a big game. Not really.
I don't think so. Not so much anymore. Because she's kind of moving on to the next thing. The next thing is College Station.
That's right. And I was going to say, as long as she's excited, I'm excited for it. But me as a football fan, I couldn't help it. It's the Iron Bowl. And I mean, Auburn has faced bigger deficits, but Alabama is fighting to stay. Fighting is a aggressive word. They're fighting to stay in the college playoffs. I think they're going to do it. I think they're I was about to say Alabama. They need to win by 3 touchdowns. And you know what? I just don't think they're going to do it. I don't, because Auburn, throw the crappy season out of the way. This is the Super Bowl. This is it. This is the national championship, and 3 touchdowns in any Iron Bowl, in my opinion, is a stretch. Therefore, Alabama's going to win, no doubt about it. But I will go Auburn to prevent the spread. I just don't think 3 touchdowns. They're amazing, but it's the Iron Bowl. So I think that's a huge spread for the Iron Bowl.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on this one, Josh. It's on the, as the favorite, Alabama 6-4, which I thought that number would be higher. As the underdog, Auburn's 2-3. Auburn's hard to figure out. They are just really hard to figure out. My head says I'll go Alabama, and but I don't think that the algorithm has them at winning by 13. So that's not 19.
Yeah, that's right. There you have it.
You know why Alabama is going to have to kill them? They're the number 3 team in the nation, right? And who are they going to be playing in the SEC championship?
None other than the Georgia Bulldogs.
They have got to put big numbers up if they want to survive. If they want. I mean, in theory, they could move up to number 2, and there's an argument that could be made if they get beat by Georgia that they're still in the game. That they're still
in my opinion, there is no way a 2-loss team. If you're the college football committee, there's no way a 2-loss team sneaks in to the playoff. It is Alabama. And do I think if it was an 18 playoff, will Alabama make it? 100%, because it's Alabama. But there are so many one loss or no loss teams that, according to whatever process they follow, should get in there. So Alabama is on the ropes. I agree with you, Ryan. I think they're going to try and post big numbers, and it's a freaking Iron Bowl. I think Auburn.
Yeah, shut up, Josh. I got to jump in today. I just let's all not forget the one loss team that the NCAA wants in the playoff more than anything.
Oh, is it in North? Is it Notre Dame?
Notre Dame. They want, they want Notre Dame. And if Notre Dame has one loss and Bama has two, Notre Dame should be in there.
Brutal. I hate that team again and again. They could have the best people in the entire world. I don't know. I can't get over that. But
okay, well, we've rambled a lot. Alex, man, when you come in and put yours in here, this is could be a heap of mess.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel there's a chance we all just meet in the middle at like 6. Or one of us is gonna have an outstanding week. Some of us are gonna have a bad week. We'll find out. But picks are only four games did we all agree on. That's pretty low. That I think that's probably the lowest of this season.
We know Alex is going to pick Wisconsin, though.
I think Alex is going to go, yeah, I'll take that point right there.
And he'll take Nebraska. I'm just going to pick it right now. If you YouTubers stayed into this until now, please click the like. Holy cow.
Might as well. Here we are. But before we ramble on so much more, we're going to bring our hands on in. Ryan, as always, great to see you. Great to chat with you.
Bring it in, Ryan.
Bring it on in. We're going to go Sports Dolls on 3. 1, 2, 3. Sports Dolls.
Sports Dolls.
Sports Dolls.